Let's talk about video analysis of whatever it is we're doing outside right now. Okay, so why do video analysis? Why take the time to set up a camera on our boat or on our bike or the rock climbing wall or whatever it is we're doing? And the reason is that it is without a doubt the single best way to see what you're doing both right and wrong. It's easy to do. Everyone carries a camera, a high-def camera that'll do slow motion in their pocket with their phones. Super easy. I use a GoPro. GoPros are great for this too, but you don't have to have a special fancy camera. I don't consider GoPros these days special or fancy, but that's besides the point. It is the single best way to see what's going on or what's going wrong with whatever it is you're doing. And so I put out an offer about a month ago in 2 different videos. One, if you want help figuring out what should be in your first aid kit, which is something I really am into. And the other was if you want help critiquing your forward stroke. And those were in videos here, which I'll put up there, those offers, the forward stroke video and the first aid kit video. And I got 2 responses from people. One from a guy that wanted some help with the first aid kit, and he was an EMT. And so I've been talking with him back and forth a bit. And then the other was from an instructor that I've worked with, a woman named Allie, who is a professional guide, professional paddling instructor, highly skilled paddler. Anything that you're doing in the outdoors can be done better, and the best way to figure out what you can be doing better is to look at video. I look at video of myself all the time because I run a YouTube channel. I am always looking at my forward stroke and critiquing my forward stroke. When I did my first book, Enlightened Kayaking, had to look at a lot of video of myself, and it was really hard, and I realized all the things that I was doing wrong, and I went back and reshot until I was happy with the way the videos for that book looked. So anything that you're doing, I think of climbing, I think of paddling, I think of mountain biking to a degree. I'm not that good of a mountain biker, but I bet you it would help if you were a good mountain biker. Anything that you're doing in the outdoors could be made better by analyzing what you're doing. Oh, I even think of like a fly fisherman casting. I bet you that could be critiqued via video. I know a whitewater instructor who uses it. It's super, super important. The reason to be doing it is so that you can do those longer days with less work, so that you're less likely to injure yourself, so that you can do multiple day trips in whatever venue it is or sport it is that you're doing. And so I don't understand why more people don't do this. I don't understand why I only got 1 person asking for help. So let's look at those videos and see what's going on. Let's start with Allie's video of her paddling. So as we watch the video of her, the first thing I'm looking at is hands. Are her hands tight or relaxed? And her hands are nice and relaxed and loose. Everything in a kayak should be done gently and in a relaxed manner. So that's the first thing I'm seeing. She's clearly, I can just sort of see by the way she's sitting there, her body is relaxed. She's not tense or anything like that. The first thing, though, that I noticed was her right elbow, camera left elbow, at the back of her stroke was pulled back a little bit further than I would like to see it. And so I immediately sent her a message and said, is the pain that you're experiencing on the front part of her shoulder, on the front part of your shoulder? And she said that it was. And so that to me is just an indicator that that elbow is coming back too far, which is stressing the, I don't know, tendons or ligaments across here, and causing that pain just from it stretching and rubbing and stuff like that. This is Beth Hansen. Beth is a personal trainer, but Beth, can you tell me what you really do, what you really are?
Yeah, I brand myself as a movement specialist. I'm really interested in mobility and helping normal folks do the stuff that they love to do better and injury-free.
Outstanding. And that goes right along with, I say constantly that I like to just get people outdoors having fun and doing it safely and all that stuff. So I'm working with another paddler, guide and an instructor, and she was getting some shoulder pain across the front of her shoulder, and she asked if I could look at video of her, do some stroke analysis via video. So she's getting pain across the front of her shoulder here, and what I'm seeing in her stroke is just that her elbow is coming back too far, and so I think that with that elbow extended, is that extension? I think that's extension.
That is extension. Yeah.
Extension is stressing the either ligaments or tendons or something, I can never remember what they are, across the front of her shoulder. What is really going on?
First, let me say that the shoulder is just rife with opportunities for stuff to go wrong. There's so many little bits of tissue and attachment points. Like if something's going to go wrong, it's probably going to go wrong with your shoulder. And especially in the front or that anterior part of the shoulder. It sounds to me like what she's got going on is that elbow is traveling back because she is too internally rotated. So as humans in this century, we spend most of our time sort of this way and a lot of internal rotation at the shoulder. I imagine that she is trying to access a range that she doesn't quite have by forcing herself into extension with that shoulder and then cranking down on that internal. I imagine there's some weakness going on in that scapula that on the opposite side to pull all that anterior tissue back. But without really putting my hands on her, I don't quite know. But that's a fairly common thing that you see.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Happy to help.
Hey, good talking with you. Maybe at some point
Always.
we'll get to see each other in person again.
Maybe one day.
All right. Thanks, Beth. I'll talk to you later. And so what I advised her to do was just to shorten up her stroke. A pretty common thing for paddlers is to let that paddle blade linger in the water a little bit longer than it should. It really should. The blade should really come out of the water right at about or just behind your hip. And she's coming back. Admittedly, it's hard to tell in the video, but it looks like she's coming back a little bit too far. It looks like in the video her hand is pretty close to her rib cage, forward and back, not left to right, which to me says it's coming back a little bit far. If you want to go paddling and have a good time in the water without it feeling like work, if you want to do long paddle days, if you want to do multi-day trips with a loaded boat full of gear, your stroke needs to be fluid and efficient. And so many people don't have that. So let's look at my stroke now. Yeah, let's do that. Let's look at my forward stroke. So why am I still a kayaking instructor? It used to be really hard for me to watch myself on video, and now after a year and a half of doing this, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm hypercritical of my forward stroke. And I'll tell you off the bat the mistakes that I make that you can see in this video is my hands when they come across tend to dip. I think a lot of people are guilty of this, particularly as you get tired. Those hands should come straight across. I'm rotating fairly nicely in this video at the moment. I'm moving at a fairly good clip. It's also hard to sort of see what I'm doing because I edge the boat so bloody much, and that affects my stroke. The other thing that I do is how deep the paddle is going into the water, and because I edge so much, it's hard to judge if I'm going too deep or too shallow, or if it's because the boat is on edge. And so right now when I look at it on the right side, I'm going too deep. On the left side, I'm not going deep enough, and I think it's because of the edging or the wind that I'm in at that moment. Let's see if I straighten that out. I've got a fairly good amount of rotation going. My hands are nice and relaxed. This actually looks fairly good. This next one is Johnny, who's a friend of mine and a student of mine. And this is good because he's talking about something else, so we can actually look at what his stroke is looking like if he'll actually paddle fluidly for a moment. Hands are nice and relaxed. Oh, this is better right here. Hands are nice and relaxed. Hands are coming across nicely. Still would like to see a little bit more torso rotation. Now it looks like the paddle might be coming back a little bit too far. But hands, looks really good actually. Hands are coming right across his face. That's really nice. Yeah, so paddle might be coming back a little bit too far. A little bit more torso rotation, but I think that looks really nice. Okay, so no matter what you're doing in the outdoors, video makes it easier to figure out what's happening, right? Even for backpackers, right? Everyone can walk, but if you got a question about pack fit, we can assess that by video. If you've got a question about your forward stroke or your roll, if you're learning to roll without video, you are almost certainly wasting your time. Rolling a kayak is what I'm talking about. You are almost certainly wasting your time. And I'll tell you right now, most people that have a problem rolling a kayak, the problem is that they lift their head too soon. And the best way, I can tell you that all day long, but until you see the video and see you lifting your head, it doesn't sink in. Video is the best way, no matter what skills you have or are trying to perfect, or not even perfect, trying to make better. Video is the best way to figure out what's going on with whatever it is you're doing in the outdoors. And so if you're a paddler and you want to send me forward stroke videos or any stroke, I am happy to look at it. You can reach out to me, brett@adventureotaku.com. Happy to do it. Happy just to help people get out there and have a good time. Oh, and the other thing is, all three of the videos that I've just shown you were a GoPro mounted on the front of a boat in various manners. You don't have to do it with your GoPro. A friend of you can sit in their boat shooting video with their phone and you can just paddle right towards them. Or if you have some sort of mount for your phone, you can totally just do this with your phone. You don't need a GoPro to do this. The GoPro makes it easy and low stress, but you don't have to have a GoPro to do this. Cool, that's this week's video. Get out there, get paddling or doing whatever it is that you're doing, and work to get better at whatever it is you're doing. You know, the reason to do this is to get better at it. So work on it. All right, I'll see you outside.